Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Stopping the Noise in Your Head, The New Way to Overcome Anxiety and Worry, by Reid Wilson, Ph.D., narrated by Eric Michaelian. Chapter 1. Worry Works for Me. Where would we be without our worries? How would the dishes get done, children get fed, bills get paid? With all that we have going on in our lives, how would the floors get swept, homework get done, birthday cards get mailed on time? How would we get enough sleep each night unless we worried about not getting enough sleep? Perhaps there's some truth in all that. Save the bit about sleeping, I'm fairly certain worry won't help with that. Our worries serve a purpose in our daily lives. They aren't just instruments of torture. I imagine when you purchased this book, you assume that I'm here to help you defeat and cast out your worries, to provide the tools you need to kick that worry addiction once and for all. But the truth is that worry and I have a love-hate relationship, not unlike my relationship with chocolate-covered almonds, dark. I've had to set some serious boundaries and limitations with these pleasures. The desire for almonds pops into my mind from time to time, and I have to respond. "Look here," I say in a stern voice. "There is a time and a place for chocolate-covered almonds, dark, and right now, in the middle of a conference in Austria, is neither the time nor the place." When worry plays a role in helping us to solve our problems, it does a fantastic job, just like when the almond to dark chocolate ratio is more like 3-to-1 than 1-to-1. So I want you to love worry when it serves you. But when it becomes a bothersome noise in your head, it has no redeeming value, and you need to kick it to the curb. Two-headed worry. I have spent most of my 35-year career working with anxious clients. When people ask what drew me to this field, one of my playful answers is, "It takes one to treat one." And I guess that's right. Although I have never had an anxiety disorder, I sure know how to worry. In fact, I am skilled at generating a lot of bad feelings alongside many wonderful feelings. I can distinctly remember a moment in college when I concluded that I was likely to be a lifelong expert at generating worrisome thoughts. I figured that the best way to keep track of my own mental health was to make psychology my profession. Various resources helped produce the book you're listening to right now. Investments such as time, research, years of study and practice, drafts, proposals, and perhaps 4,000 cups of various forms of caffeine. And among all of those was worry. My worry shows up in one of two forms, either incredibly helpful or dreadfully bothersome. When I continually remind myself that I should be working on this project, and yet I don't set aside time to focus on it, I use up part of my consciousness fretting because I'm not getting around to the task. I experience a combination of guilt, that I'm not being productive enough, and worry, that I am making a mistake by not addressing the project at this very moment. Both wrapped up in a tidy little package padded with a thick layer of self-criticism. When the task is my writing, it sounds a bit like this. "Geez, I gotta get focused on writing this book. I gotta be more efficient with my time. I gotta stop doing these little productive things and focus on the big productive stuff. And I gotta find a synonym for gotta. And then, if I don't devote time and energy to this, it'll never get done. I waste so much time during the day, I need to start focusing. I should do all of these things today." Simultaneously. This is not a loud noise in my head, mind you. It's more like a kind of muttering. I gnaw away at it in the background, and I bring a taste of unhappiness into my mental palate each day. Here's the other way my worry works, and this I highly recommend. The thought pops up again. I gotta get back to working on the book if I'm ever going to get it done. But this time, it's wired into my disposition about this project. It's important to me. I want to accomplish it, and I absolutely want to devote time in the immediate future to work on it. I can use that thought as a signal to move into action, Relatively quickly, I shift into problem-solving mode. I decide when I'm going to set aside a chunk of time, and I literally mark off that half day or so in my calendar. Did you notice how I just said, relatively quickly I shift into problem-solving mode? That happens on a really, really good day. Usually it's somewhere between, "You'd better get back to work," and "I'll mark off sometime soon." Granted, worry isn't the only way I get myself to work. Lucky for me, most of the time I feel inspired about my day. I have interesting projects that motivate me, and I can keep my attention focused on the positive outcomes I want from my creative efforts. And the caffeine helps too. But juggling and prioritizing tasks is not smooth sailing for any of us. Worry helps us through the rough waters by motivating us to stay on task and solve problems both big and small in our lives. Very simply, I would not want to lose the benefit of worry, but I also don't want to kick around in the wading pool of worry. I want to dive into the deep end and tackle the real challenges in life. How about you? Worry works. Worry, of course, has long been critical to our survival. Our caveman ancestors who took leisurely strolls down by the stream, enjoying the pleasures of a beautiful fall morning, were eaten by saber-toothed tigers. Dinosaurs were mainly vegetarians. Their genes were lost. Our paranoid, there could be danger around any corner, defender of the family tribe ancestors lived to procreate, passing on to us that ever-present protective mode of worry. Some degree of worry is actually good for us. It can help jumpstart us out of our denial, and it can drive us to prioritize our tasks. Most important, worry is designed to be an initial response, as step one in the problem-solving process. It should initiate our efforts to find solutions by triggering our analytic process, evaluating the current situation, generating response options, choosing among them, selecting one, and then implementing it. When this progression works well, we get to conclude our analysis with a message like, "I'm worried about finishing this project, and now I'm going to take action. This is how I'm going to get it done. Here's my plan." See, that's the usefulness of worry. We bastardize the process when we operate as though worry is the problem-solving process. We keep naming the problem over and over again without productively addressing solutions. We say, "I've got to get this done. If I don't get this done, I'll be in trouble. I'm not sure I'm going to make it." During stressful times, if our steady income seems threatened, if an unfamiliar physical symptom is persisting, if a son begins driving or a daughter begins dating, most of us fret a little too much. It's as though worry becomes our talisman to ward off the trouble, the mistakes, the dangers. We believe that if we can just worry enough, we will come up with ways to prevent the bad things from happening. We feel threatened, so we operate as though all this thinking will protect us from committing any errors of judgment, and that it will ensure we make the right choice. Then once we decide on a plan of action, we worry as a way to verify that it's the right action, which really becomes a process of second-guessing our decisions. But we have it wrong. Worry isn't supposed to solve problems. Its job is to generate problems in the front of our minds so we know what to fix, and it causes us to think more about how things might go wrong than about how to correct difficulties. After all, one way to avoid trouble is to imagine ourselves in that trouble. Imagine you are late for an appointment and driving in a rush. As you approach the traffic light, it turns yellow. You momentarily consider taking the risk of running through the light, because that will save you precious minutes. Then up pops the image of things going really badly for you, and others in the middle of that intersection. You immediately act on your instantaneous decision to stop. That's worry at its best. What happens if we don't place our worries within the problem-solving process? When we start paying a high emotional cost for unnecessary worry, and when our worries pop up in our minds too frequently, then those thoughts hurt us. Worry leads to anxiety. The more we worry, the more anxious we will become, whether it's about family, financial issues, work or school, or illness. If we don't address this type of worry and find ways to control it, we will continue to be anxious. And worry will absolutely inhibit our performance. During any project, we should focus our attention on the task. But when our attention keeps getting redirected toward unhelpful worry, we become self-absorbed. How will I do? What if I fail? That will be too painful for me. Must avoid failure. These are compelling thoughts, and anyone would have trouble disengaging from them. But if you want your inner resources available for the activities you value, you need to find a way. That's what this book is for. Yes, worry serves an essential function by helping us solve legitimate problems, and in chapters 5, 6, and 7, we will discuss that. But through the rest of the book, we will look at times when anxious worrying disturbs us instead of helps us. We are going to study problematic worry and how we limit our successes in the service of this dominant challenger. Then I will show you how to win that challenge. Chapter 2. It's a competition. I'm going to compare our struggles with worry and anxiety to a boxing match. Yes, I am. And to a chess game, to Monopoly, Bridge, the ancient adversarial competition of Go, and any of the martial arts, to tennis and poker. How can I dare compare your significant psychological struggles with a board game? Because I believe it is the most pragmatic, efficient way to gain your life back. All competitions apply strategies, the flexible and fluid broad designs for gaining control over the challenger in order to reach your goal. And all competitions include tactics, the powerful short-term actions used to gain that control or force the challenger to make an undesirable move. You implement your broad strategies by applying tactics moment by moment. In the game of chess, one strong opening strategy is to occupy and control the center of the board, because your pieces tend to be more mobile the closer they are to the center. Tactically speaking, how might you begin implementing that strategy? Start by advancing one or two of your pawns. First, move the pawn in front of either your king or queen, then develop your knights before their respective bishop, because it's easier to find a good square on the chessboard for your knights. Don't move any of your pieces twice. Develop both sides of the board equally. Strategies in chess are not the exact move you make. Instead, they are the general principles to follow. In that same way, to win over our needless worries and unhelpful anxiety, it's best to consider that we are engaged in a mental competition with broad strategies and more precise tactics. You will have lots of options for specific moves within the challenge. Competitions are structured with rules and rituals. They are organized to test our skills, our courage, and our cunning, and they can be won. But if you are losing now, how do you start winning? Make-believe is at the heart of all games, and we will absolutely engage our imaginations to accomplish our goals here. You and I must influence your neurology, and we will accomplish this through metaphors for how your neurology operates and how it changes. We begin our make-believe by externalizing and personifying the part of you that generates unhelpful worries and distress, and I'm going to refer to that competitor as anxiety, with a capital A. A losing strategy. You win a competition by applying the best tactics that implement the cleverest set of strategies. I can promise you that if you are troubled by worries and anxieties, whether it's general worries, panic, phobias, social anxieties, or OCD, anxiety has been winning this game because it has an ingenious set of strategies. Brilliant, really. I will explain them to you in detail as we move along. Anxiety's best strategy is to convince you to spend most of your energy worrying about how to protect yourself or someone else against harm. It scores points by getting you to worry and then step back instead of step forward into the action. If you organize your actions around only a defensive strategy, you will continue to lose to this skilled tactician. I assume you are great at playing defense. You can back up, avoid, tense up, worry about the future, and stick with the tried and true. But you cannot win a competition by only playing defense. If you are reacting to your symptoms, trying to quiet your worries, and attempting to get rid of any threats that show up, you are at a great disadvantage. You must have an offensive plan that pushes you into the territory of your challenger. I will explain the method behind this madness soon enough. And then you must act within that plan over and over again. That's a scary thought. And crazy, really. Who in their right mind would want to step into the fire? Here's that kind of crazy for you. Chris Sharma. In Chapter 13, I'll tell you how he is one of our many models as a competitor. To become a winning player, you need a good coach. That's me. Obviously, I have to prove myself to you, and that's my intention. I'll explain the nature of this competition, show you exactly how anxiety is using worry and distress to beat you now, offer you a clear understanding of the mistakes you are making, and yes, you are making mistakes because we all do. Unfold the strategies that will give you your life back and help you engage in the proper tactics within those strategies. You probably have guessed this already, but winning this competition requires that you change. And what should surprise you is that the most important change you must make is at the level of your attitude, not your behavior. Yes, you will change your actions, but the actions you take will be in service of your new attitude. Your job will be to purposely and voluntarily choose to seek out uncertainty and distress. This sounds crazy because it's paradoxical, and it will be hard for you. Because to move purposefully into unknown territory under anxiety's control, you must willingly choose to feel clumsy, awkward, unsure, and afraid. You will know you are aggressing into new, unfamiliar territory when you voluntarily and purposely decide to scare yourself. To win this competition is hard, but the good news is that it's not complex. I will coach you on how you face your fears with a simple frame of mind that no longer feeds your anxious worrying and your avoidance. Do you know you are already competing with anxiety? Your challenger is winning, and you haven't even been given the rules. That's not fair. That's going to change now. We'll begin by studying the moves of anxiety to know your play. But first, a story. Only 2 competitors remain at the final table in the 11th hour of gameplay. 22-year-old Welsh poker sensation John Tabatabai, the current chip leader, and this new Norwegian girl whom no one was betting on earlier in the day. The main floor of the casino is teeming with tourists, but it's standing room only here in the disco room at the casino at the Empire in central London. The TV lights are blinding. The roving cameras are an added distraction, and media members mill about. They must sense an imminent victory. By now, the blinds are a steep £15,000 to £30,000. At stake are £1 million and, almost more gratifying, a coveted World Series of Poker bracelet. 2 months prior, Annette_15 was playing online almost exclusively. She played thousands of internet poker tournaments, winning more than 23 major online tournaments and earning just shy of $850,000. But today, on the 8th day of the World Series of Poker Europe inaugural event, Annette Aberstedt is live and in the flesh, the calm and collected mystery girl at the final table. Aberstedt is holding pocket sevens, and John Tabatabai has a 5 of spades and a 6 of diamonds. Annette raises to £100,000. Tabatabai calls. The place reeks of men's cologne, and the air buzzes with electricity. After the flop, Oberstedt has 3 of a kind, and Tabatabai has 2 pair. Oberstedt bets £250,000. Tabatabai raises to £750,000, and Oberstedt responds, "I'm all in." The seated onlookers, unable to contain themselves, stand in unison. Tabatabai removes his glasses. "I call," he says, smiling but visibly uneasy. Both final table competitors are all in. The winner will be decided in the next 2 cards. The World Series of Poker will all be over in a matter of seconds. The 15 in Oberstedt's username signifies when she started playing internet poker. Annette_15 was a high school teenager with an online gaming presence, winning free tournaments while learning patience and stamina. In the summer of 2007, Oberstedt won a 180-person sit-and-go online tournament and asserts that she looked at her cards only once during the event. She'll often play this way, with her cards hidden, which forces her to put 100% of her attention on the other players at the table. An integral part of the game of poker is studying each of your challengers, and Annette Oberstedt is a scholar of observation. Whether or not she's involved in a particular hand, she scans the table, reads intentions, and picks up what to the layperson is completely indiscernible. Not unlike a skilled chess player, when Oberstedt is on top of her game, she considers every possible play in every unique scenario. She knows which hands are typically played and which are not. She weighs small bets versus big bets and deliberates on the meaning behind every action, every raise, every fold. Predicting your competitor's moves is near impossible, but if you can identify their trademarks and tendencies, aggressive or timid, raising or calling, playing too many hands or not enough, you can use this information against them. This is where the game is played for those who truly know how to play it. Oberstedt learned the game at the keyboard, battling seas of faceless virtual opponents. She assesses her opponents before the first card is even dealt. "People give away tells way too often," she says. "If you're good at picking up that stuff, you can win so many more pots." It's this attitude that gives Oberstedt a reputation as an aggressive player. Watching her compete one-on-one against veterans like Phil Hellmuth, wearing her thick black sunglasses that masks her eyes, Oberstedt's confidence and stillness is almost unsettling. She's not mugging for the camera. She's not visiting players at other tables, shaking hands, making friends. She's too busy reading her competitors' cues and anticipating their next moves. That's not aggression. That's careful attention. Right now, it's roughly midnight. Oberstedt clasps her hands together and bows her head, the same thick black glasses concealing her emotions. The turn is the 2 of spades. Oberstedt still has the lead. This corner of the casino is silent. The entire room is on its feet. The river is the Queen of Hearts. Oberstedt cracks a smile, the first tell she lets slip in the last 11 hours. As the stacks are counted and the winner is determined, Oberstedt sits back in her chair, her eyes swelling with the realization that she is now the youngest competitor and the first female player to win a World Series of Poker bracelet. The poker world has crowned a new champion. Her name is Annette Oberstedt, and tomorrow is her 19th birthday. Anxiety is the cleverest of challengers. Why? Because it studies our weaknesses, our vulnerabilities, our needs. It captures our natural responses to threat, exaggerates them, and turns them against us. It hijacks any softness in our personality traits. It feeds us false information, conveying that certain activities are more threatening than they actually are. And it creates a set of beliefs that causes us to back away to safety instead of step forward into the face of threat. Your challenger is looking to exploit any vulnerability you might have within these domains. Using Annette as our model, we are going to study these moves of anxiety so we can create a winning set of strategies. Are you game? Part 1. The Dominant Strategy of Anxiety. Chapter 3. The comfort of certainty. I admit that I can carry around a set of high standards for myself and my world. You and I have not met, but my guess is that you hold a set of standards that aren't so different. How do these sound to you? To feel physically and psychologically comfortable. To perceive my world as safe enough. To spend my time and energy on tasks and relationships I enjoy. To feel confident in my decisions and that I am heading in the right direction. To avoid mistakes. To experience a sense of success. To feel satisfied and content in my moment-by-moment experiences. These idealized goals are sitting there inside of me, a core part of my psychological makeup. Here's the problem. If I'm not paying close attention, I adopt these as my expected standards. Of course, I can never accomplish these goals on a consistent basis, especially since the universe fails to line up according to my wishes. So when I invest in these standards, I will end up disappointing myself more often than I feel pleased. As though that weren't enough, when I guide my daily activities by the hopes that I will immediately gain access to these outcomes, I usually suffer more than I celebrate. A perfect pair. Of all of these standards, two seem primary to us all. We want certainty, and we want comfort. Any time we are engaged in that mindset, we believe that maintaining a sense of confidence and comfort will make our lives more satisfying. We want to know what's coming next, because that makes us comfortable. By establishing these priorities, we inevitably create an enemy of any doubt or distress that arises. When we want to feel secure and confident, and we start feeling insecure, we then respond accordingly. We feel an urge to get rid of it. When we are doubtful, we rapidly act to remove it, because our doubt breeds the distress of not knowing. The message, "I don't want this," appears in a variety of contexts. We develop a low tolerance for losing, being in conflict, being misunderstood, or feeling confused. We don't want to have to cook dinner when we're tired, or pull a muscle during an exercise, or lie in bed sick. I definitely fit into this tribe. I don't want to sit with financial insecurity, or the worry of an undiagnosed condition, or traffic that stopped moving. I don't want the pain of crying when with each passing second I sob harder. We want security. We want to feel confident and certain because then we can relax. We feel at ease when we know what's coming next. Who wouldn't want that? So we are consciously motivated and unconsciously driven to seek comfort of certainty. These desires will always be sitting inside of us, tugging at us, calling for our attention, beckoning to us like the siren songs called to Odysseus in Homer's Odyssey. And they can quickly transform into demands. Seek control now. Find comfort now. Doubt and distress are unwanted. Banish them as soon as possible. Seek the relief of certainty. I have developed deep respect for their permanent presence and their powerful influence over my decisions. I surrender to the fact that I will never get rid of these desires, and I suggest you do the same. I'm like you and everybody else in that we are forever going to want to feel safe and sure and comfortably in control. These are unconscious drives built into our psyches. The unconscious will seek to eliminate negative thoughts and feelings. Moment by moment, it monitors for doubt and discomfort, and periodically will send us a message to remove those inner disturbances. When our doubt registers consciously, we will automatically feel that urge to remove it, because our unconscious wants it gone. That's one of the reasons we start feeling distressed, and it makes sense through deductive reasoning. I am experiencing something unpleasant? Unpleasant experience?
Sample complete. Ready to continue?